Adam, the Whitehair Master, Episode 6. Today I have another chance to follow Adam and see him handle his job once more time. This time I came to a house. They have contacted Adam and asked him to come by to check on their son's status. The boy was likely to be haunted by a dirty thing. The moment we stepped inside the house, the little boy was very normal. But after a while, he started acting weird. He screamed aloud and struggled. Both me and Adam tried to hold him back, but even with your young man's strengths, we could not deal with that. The boy was screaming more and more. He was eye-rolling and got foaming at his mouth, which looked really scary. We let the boy go. Adam took a penny from his bag, held it by his 2 fingers, and murmured some weird things. I could only hear something like, "All the spirits out there, please listen to my will." After murmuring those words, Adam put the penny to the boy's forehead. The magic had happened right after then. The boy stopped screaming and acting up. His face turned back to normal, his eyes slowly closed up, and he passed out. I saw Adam gave a relief sign. He said that the boy was fine already, so the parents should not worry about him anymore. He told them to follow some notices afterward. His forehead was sweaty. The parents gave him a thank profusely. They looked pleased to see their son could get back to normal. Adam replied that was his job, and he happily helped people. The parent of the haunted boy told us to stay over and could leave in the early morning because it was really late already. I thought they wanted to cook us dinner to thank us. But Adam refused their offer. He told them he was thankful for that, but he had works to do. Then the 2 of us left their house. We have planned to call a cab and back to the city center because that was not really late, and indeed there would be some taxi drivers around there. Unfortunately, it rained cats and dogs then. There would be no taxi driver who could drive us back. So Adam and I kept running outside until we found a small motel. The heavy rain made us sweet. I complained a bit about why there was no sign of the heavy rain earlier. I suddenly asked Adam how he didn't predict that rain might be deep down. I thought Adam was a saint already, so there would be nothing he wasn't aware of. Adam gave me a smile and replied to my question. He was just a human being. How he could predict everything. I have overrated him, and we had to stay in town overnight. He looked in the motel direction and told me. Adam told me the rain wasn't normal. It might be something that wanted us to stay over that night. I didn't catch what Adam meant. He was just talking nonsense out of the blue and so hard to understand to me. And so, we pushed the motel's door to step in. We saw a reception desk right after opening the door. There was a middle-aged man, around his 40s. Once he saw us, he stood up with a welcome pose. He might be the motel's owner. He looked really nice. He asked us if we wanted to have a room and stay overnight. I could see his weird standing posture. One shoulder was higher than the other. He might be a physical disability. I replied that we needed a double room. He led the way to our room right then enthusiastically. Suddenly, I heard a baby voice and asked the father if we were their guest. I turned around. He was around 7 years old boy. His legs were like his father's. I wondered if that was Jean's problem? The owner took us to the room. He told us the amenity of his motel on the way. There were snacks and water in every room. We could have them then pay when we check out. After a few more steps, I saw another boy coming. That might be his other boy. He asked his kid why he didn't go to sleep yet at that late. The little boy replied he would hit the sack right then. After the boy passed by me, I saw a bit strange, so I stopped by and watched him. He got a leg disability. His steps were unstable, just like his father and his sibling. I could tell that must have been a genetic problem in that case. I asked the owner a bit about his sons. I thought he was lucky to have both 2 lovely boys. He told me he got 3 kids in total and asked me was it luck, so it turned out he didn't have 2 but 3 kids and his reaction wasn't normal. Adam saw all of that, he eyed at me, we exchanged our eyes for more than 10 seconds. There must have been something wrong there. The owner took us to the room and told us a bit more about the motel's rule. He also told us to call him if we need anything by the walkie-talkie in the room, then he left. After seeing he left, I got lots of questions to ask Adam. I started to bombard Adam with my concerns. Why did the motel's owner and his 2 boys all have that physical disability? Did his 3rd son get the same problem? Was that a genetic problem? We had concluded that, and it might be the owner didn't feel comfortable talking about that. After chatting a while, I got hungry. I remembered that we all didn't have dinner yet, so I asked Adam if he was hungry. I regretted not accepting Adam's customer's offer to stay over and had dinner with them. I didn't wait for Adam to reply. I saw instant noodles at the reception desk, so I asked Adam to join me in eating noodles. I was going to ask the owner to make us 2 cups of instant noodles. Adam might be starving as well. He didn't reply. We didn't eat anything in the afternoon. Then, I stepped outside. Adam followed me. I asked the owner to make us 2 cups of instant noodles. He willingly boiled water and helped us out. He brought us hot dogs as well. He told us that the hot dogs were his treat so that it would be easier for us to eat with noodles. He was such a nice person. I knew it might be impolite and made the owner uncomfortable, but I wasn't able to hold my curiosity. I asked him if his family had a genetic disease. He understood what I had mentioned right away. He started to tell us about his situation. His family got no genetic disease from the start. But out of the blue, everything started with him. He got the issue with his legs and then his 3 sons as well. Right at the time his sons gave birth, he had tried to come to lots of hospitals to diagnose. But the doctors found nothing and were unable to curve him as well as his sons. When hearing the part, out of the blue, he got that legs issue, Adam and I could point out that was the abnormal point. Right after the owner finished his word, Adam asked him how long he had been in the legs issue. He replied that it was more than 10 years. One day, around 10 years ago, his legs suddenly hurt like hell. He was very painful. After the pain is over, his legs turned to be crippled. His sons had all experienced like him. Adam gave his eyes around the motel. He asked if the motel was his properties, and how long it had been erected. The owner replied that the motel was indeed his property. He had built it around 10 years ago, when he and his sons turned to be crippled. Come to think of it, that was not a coincidence. Adam realized something already. He asked me to get back to the room and take the compass out. I ran out to take the compass. I hurriedly ran to our room, took the compass, and gave him. There must have been something interesting to me to learn. After I gave him the compass, Adam started to use it and walked around the motel. If he was looking for something, I asked him if he had found something wrong. He replied to me that there was something peculiar in the motel. I gazed at the compass in Adam's hands. Once he passed by a corner, the needle inside the compass spun around crazily. Adam stopped by and turned to ask the owner if he got in any trouble when he built the motel up, with the designer or workers there. After hearing Adam's question, the owner surprisingly replied. He told me that he had indeed put up an argument with a worker named Roman back the day. I was also amazed. Adam was likely to know everything then. A worker named Roman was very skillful in the crew, but his personality wasn't good as same as his skills. He was suck and always complained about everything and yelled to the other, like how the other was so slow to respond. In his rural small town, there were not many people, so people were all neighbors. The owner didn't stand for Roman's attitude, so he stood up in front of him. He told him to stop yelling at the others. Just a minor issue, but Roman kept his arrogance and argued with the owner. He yelled at the owner what the owner meant to him. At that time, the owner was a straightforward young man. He didn't think thoughtfully before he talked. He didn't like Roman's attitude, so he criticized Roman in front of the workers' crew. He didn't think of saving Roman's face. Everyone had worked until 6 p.m., but you have disappeared at 4 p.m. How dare you're still able to be here and yelling at people? Do you think you are the most skillful worker here, so you're able to lord it over your crew here? The owner warned Roman that he better kept his mouth. He was the one who pays for them. Seeing the tension between them, one of the workers came and tried to calm the owner down. The owner remembered Roman's eyes that day. His eyes were filled with anger. That is such a young, disrespectful worker. Such an arrogant kid. How skillful he was, all useless without his attitudes. That was a small argument in the past. Then the owner didn't have any arguments with him, and that worker had focused on his job to get it done as well. After that argument, the owner told us that Roman didn't make any scenes anymore until they finished the motel. He turned to ask Adam if Adam found something. I could assure Adam had pinpointed the vital point here, but I couldn't guess what it was. Adam said that Roman had buried something right underneath those bricks under his feet if he was right. Adam asked the owner for his permission to break the bricks there and asked him to find him a huge hoe. Right after the motel's owner brought us a hoe, Adam turned to me and asked me to break the bricks. I received the hoe and started to excavate the floor out. I hit it hard to the brick floor. Even though there were 3 people there, but come to think of that, the owner was a disability. Adam was my half-teacher since I wanted to follow him, so there was only me could do the job. I had to take that. I hit the hoe to the brick floor and made a loud noise. After a half hour of hitting the floor by the hoe, the bricks had broken, and the thing under the surface had nearly exposed to us. Adam handed me up and gave me a sign of stop digging. He was likely to find something out. I made a hole on the ground after 30 minutes of using the hoe, and I could see a ground-like color wooden box inside. No wonder I didn't see that when digging. No need to be asked. That kind of difficult job like took the box out of the mess must be me then. I tried my best to pull the box out of the hole. It was stuck in a mess. The box was around 2 spans. Once again, I told Adam how I admire him, how he could find a deeply buried box like that. Adam was very humbled and told me to stop flattering him. That was all thanks to his luck, and he asked me to quickly open the box out. The box was the reason why the motel's owner and his sons got their leg issues in the last 10 years. Once the box was opened, we saw there were 4 wooden puppets in there. The 4 of them were all male-like, and their legs were all broken. I took one of them to see and curiously asked why those puppets all broke their one legs. That rang a bell at that time. Those puppets stood for the 4 members of the motel's owner's family. The puppets' broken legs matched with the owner and his sons. Until that moment, the motel's owner completely believed in Adam's abilities. He couldn't imagine how his words made him and his son miserable life. That was so brutal. The owner saw Adam had found those puppets, so he asked if he could break the curse and helped his family to get back to live a normal life. He was capable of the leg issue, but his sons got their bright futures ahead. They were all too young to be disabled. Adam told us that those curses could break very easily, but he warned that the one who cursed would be suffering. All the owner needed was a mirror. The motel's owner gave us a piece of very shocking information. Roman had paid off already. He had a car accident a few years ago and passed away instantly. After hearing about Roman's death, Adam didn't have any hesitation left. He told the owner to quickly find a mirror to help him revert the curse. My job was to put the wooden box back to its position, then covered it with a mirror. Adam took out 4 pennies and put them at 4 corners of the mirror. Adam kept the motel's owner some notices. He comforted the owner that his leg and his son's legs would be recovered after a year and a half. He had to fill that hole up tomorrow and had to be careful. Try to not move the 4 pennies out of their places. The motel's owner was very grateful. He tended to give Adam money, but Adam refused his money. Adam said that all he needed was a free night of accommodation at his motel that night. I wanted to learn all his skills. I flattered Adam once again. I told him he was really done a fantastic job. Just holding a compass and walked around to find a box which had been buried in years. How did he learn that skill? He replied that was from his master. Even in a minute, I wanted to see his master and learn some useful tips. No need to be an advanced tip or something. But Adam replied to me those skills didn't for everyone to learn. He kept refusing to let me know who his master was. Finally, I could make him speak about his master's family name. His master was from Smith's family, which did not satisfy me. I convinced Adam to let me meet his master. It would be better if I could learn from him and would be able to discuss with Adam about the psychical stuff. I really eagled to learn, but Adam was always cold-hearted, such a good friend. He told me that everything had been destined to what it was already and advised me to turn off the light and go to sleep. I didn't finish, but Adam turned the light off already. I kept repeatedly asking him about his master then until he threatened to beat me.